All right, part two. Speaking of part-timers, as I said, uh, Brock Lesnar would be one of them, but I have a big problem with the part-time wrestler. I call them the part-time wrestling brigade. Uh, because let's see here. You have the old age outlaws who have just come back from obscurity. You have Batista, who has just returned. Pardon me. You have The Rock, who has resurfaced many times. And then you have Brock Lesnar. So, here's my problem with this. Let's say you started a brand new job. Sorry, head's itchy. But you start a brand new job, and as you're coming in, one of the other employees is leaving. He's been there for 12 years or whatever. He's leaving to pursue other things, and you stay with this company for about the same amount of time, maybe a little less. But as you're slowly working your way up the ladder like you want, and one day the boss says, like, you're doing good work, and we're gonna give you promotion. We're gonna make you an assistant manager or something, and your goal is to be a manager, but assistant manager, that's great. Like, oh yes, I'm totally down with that. Now do you proud. And as your assistant manager, suddenly the guy that left years ago decides to come back. And your boss looks right at him and says, "Welcome back. You know what? You were, a manager before? Well, guess what? You're a manager now. Go ahead and just go. There's your office the way you left it. Have fun. You're my new manager now." How would that make you feel? What kind of bullshit would that be? If somebody just suddenly comes back and takes over your spot. That, ladies and gentlemen, I have just described wrestling in a nutshell. Especially today's wrestling, because alright, let's just start with the old age outlaws. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. First off, did we really need them back? What was there a mass petition being signed by everybody saying we need the new age outlaws back? We need Road Dogg and Billy Gunn back in this ring. If there was, I missed it, because I don't think we needed them back. In fact, I think we never needed them back. I'm gonna sound like a dick here, I'm sure, but looking back on it, the Outlaws never really were that good. They were tag champions, sure, but they were never a great team. And I'm going strictly by athleticism here. I'm not going by marquee value. I'm not going by their association with DX. I'm going strictly by did they impress me with their tag team abilities? And no, they never did. I never once saw a New Age Outlaws match and said, wow, that was an impressive feat of athleticism from those two guys. I never once said that. Like I said, the only thing I can think of that they were associated with DX, and that's how they became big stars. And it also shows that Vince McMahon does not hold a grudge, because I remember in TNA when Road Dogg and Billy Gunn teamed up there. They ran Vince's name into the dirt. Oh my God, they said so many horrible things. Their tag team name was called the Voodoo Kin Mafia, VKM, which was Vince McMahon's, or is Vince McMahon's initials. And they would come out and say all this horrible things about Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but they'd call them by their real names. They'd be like, yeah, because this was when DX came back with just Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And Road Dogg would get on the microphone and goes, yeah, as we speak up north, Paul Levesque and Michael Higginbottom are making money off of the shit that we made popular. And we don't like that. But, I guess they didn't burn their bridges too bad. And I guess they were involved in, like, heavy drugs. But now they've cleaned up and they're back. And yay. But, of course, the first thing they do is when they come back, they win the tag team titles. They win from Cody Rhodes and Goldust, who I'm actually surprised they kept the belts as long as they did. But, yeah. Road Dogg, Billy Gunn just walk in and they win the tag team titles. Okay. This is my problem with letting... I have to be careful how I word it. You know what? Okay. When you have a part-time wrestler who is... And by that I mean somebody who doesn't wrestle all the time, who has just suddenly come back out of the blue, who has other business dealings out there that they want to deal with. Or like just an older wrestler anyway. Like an older wrestler comes back and suddenly wants to make a comeback. Okay. Here's the thing. Why should your loyal wrestlers who have not left, who have stuck it out from day one, be pushed to the side for these idiots? Makes no sense. Especially because, again, as I said with Hulk Hogan, modern day wrestling fans don't know who the hell the New Age Outlaws are. Nor do they care. It's hard to explain, but it's not hard to explain. You're basically pissing on the loyal wrestlers who have been there through thick and thin, who haven't left for other companies, who have been... They haven't been involved in drugs. They haven't gotten in trouble. But yet, when these guys come in, it makes no fucking sense. And here's what it does, too. It also destroys the credibility of all of your other wrestlers. Because I want you to think about this. Cody Rhodes and Goldust won the tag team titles from The Shield. The Shield's a pretty tough tag team. And as a champion, you are considered the best in the company. Am I right? And Cody and Goldust wrestled some pretty top teams. I think they wrestled the Primetime Players. They wrestled the Usos. They wrestled the Shield again. They wrestled other teams. Like, I can't name them all, but they wrestled them. And now, here come the New Age Outlaws, who have not been in wrestling, who have not been in the WWE anyway for at least almost a decade. They just suddenly walk in and take the titles. You have essentially killed Cody Rhodes and Goldust. You have killed them dead. And you have killed every other other tag team out there. And you want to know why? Because Cody and Goldust were beating all these other teams. And then suddenly, a team that has not been seen for over a decade comes in without any prior matches and beats them. So now, Cody and Goldust can't beat a team that hasn't been together for over a decade. And now you can't build any legitimate challengers because all of the other teams have been losing to Cody and Goldust. If Cody and Goldust can't beat these two old fucks, how do you expect the Usos to beat these two old fucks? When they can't even beat Cody and Goldust. Think about it. This is booking 101, people. You don't make the old people champions. They did the same thing with the fucking Rock. Oh my... I'm just going to say it. I don't like The Rock. I don't see the big appeal. But people, every time he comes on screen, they just roll out the red carpet for that son of a bitch. Like, oh, hey, The Rock is back. Woo! Everything's going to be great now. Rock wrestled John Cena at WrestleMania. And I have a whole other video about that too. But The Rock beats John Cena. He comes out the next night and says, I'm never leaving again. I'm never leaving. And guess what? The hour wasn't even up until he was never seen again. Then CM Punk wins the WWE title and has the longest streak in modern wrestling. Something to be proud of, something to applaud for. And it's suddenly announced that The Rock is going to be challenging CM Punk for the world title. And guess what? The Rock wins. The fucking Rock, who quit wrestling to pursue a movie career, suddenly comes back from out of nowhere and beats CM Punk. Not only does he beat CM Punk, he wins the title. Do you see why I get upset about that? You had, if I was CM Punk, I would have been so pissed. I'm sure he was. You have The Rock, who just shows up whenever he feels like it to challenge for a title, and suddenly he wins. Again, going back to the whole old age outlaws deal, you have essentially killed CM Punk. CM Punk should have just faded away in obscurity after that, because he couldn't beat a guy who just shows up, you know? Again, this can even get rolled into the whole Undertaker thing, where every year the Undertaker comes out and wrestles one match. One. And nobody can beat this guy. But you know what? That makes sense. In some ways, it makes sense because The Undertaker has never lost at WrestleMania. Don't ask me how. Maybe the moon's all aligned in his way. But at least when somebody wrestles The Undertaker, they are still getting a great match out of it. Something that they can be proud of. They're getting the WrestleMania match. Having The Rock beat CM Punk for a title. Big difference between The Undertaker and everybody else. There's no titles on the line. Fuck The Rock. Fuck The Rock. And then we have Batista, who suddenly has returned from his failed MMA career. He comes back the week before the Royal Rumble and says, "Hey, I'm in the Royal Rumble," and he goes on to win the Royal Rumble. No warm-up matches, no building your way up, no climbing the ladder, no. He just walks in and wins the Royal Rumble. Some fanboys out there are going to be like, well, that's because he's badass. No, it's because the writing is fucking stupid on this show. You know, if I was Triple H, thankfully I'm not, but if I was, the very first thing I would have said to Batista, I would have shook his hand and said, "Hey, welcome back. And you want to be in the Royal Rumble? Fine. But guess what? This is a different era that you were once accustomed to. You have to wrestle a match in order to qualify for the Royal Rumble. You put him in a match. And he wins the match. Okay. And they say, well, alright, Batista, you're in the Royal Rumble, but again, if you're still the new guy. You're half these guys in the locker room don't know who you are. So I'll tell you what, we're going to give you the number one spot. If you can go through all 29 other guys, then you certainly deserve a title shot. It makes sense, doesn't it? I would buy that. I would buy the fact that Triple H would say, like, okay, Batista, you want to prove that you're still the animal, you're still the number one guy? Well, prove it. Go through 29 guys and you will prove it to me. But no, he just walks in. And I hate that. I hate that. Because you might as well just be pissing on all the other people that have been loyal to this company. Like, oh, excuse me, I was in this company 6 years ago. I was a world champion. I deserve to be world champion again. Piss off. Yeah, there's your WrestleMania main event. Randy Orton and Batista. You know, we just had John Cena against fucking Randy Orton for the 9,000th time. How the hell can you push new stars if the old ones can't get the fuck out of the way, you know? That's what you see. Some of these older wrestlers come back for one night, and they can win a match. Okay, you want the old guys to win a match? Fine, make it a Raw or a SmackDown, something that nobody really gives a shit about. Okay? You don't have them win on pay-per-view! And you don't have them win a title! When Randy Orton was doing his Legend Killer deal, they would bring out all these old fuckers and have them wrestle Randy Orton. Randy Orton would get his ass beat, but he would eventually beat them. Why? Because he's younger. That's the thing. The old wrestlers should help the young wrestlers. You know who did this best? I was going to say Ric Flair, but somebody else did it way better. Terry Funk. Terry Funk did this to a science. To where he was 40, 50 years old, and he was putting over the young guys. Why? Because they are the future. Terry Funk knew that he could not handle a full schedule anymore. So you know what he did? In ECW, this is exactly how he did it. He picked out the younger guys and said, you know what? I could do something good with him. I could make him. That's the point. The old wrestlers have to make the younger wrestlers. But when the younger wrestlers are losing to the older wrestlers, what is that proving? It proves they're getting beat by old fucks who have not wrestled in over 10 years. And they might as well just disappear. Because if you can't beat those guys, you can't beat anybody. Yeah. Fuck. You know, it's mostly The Rock. The Rock is the one that pisses me off the most. Because I just... And a guy I work with, we talk about this all the time. It is amazing how people will just roll out the red carpet for The Rock should be the most universally hated motherfucker in the world. But he's not. Everybody loves him. I don't know why. Because he's the most manipulative, hypocritical asshole in all of wrestling. I'm never leaving. I'm going to stay with the WWE forever. Oh, well, by the way, I have to go film a movie now. See ya. So, yeah, I got another... I gotta take a break because suddenly I'm pissed off, and I don't know why I'm pissed off about it. Well, no, I know why I'm pissed off about this, but anyway. Man, I hate wrestling, but it's like a drug. I can't stop. I can't stop as much as I want to. Anyway, like I said, I have another vid I'm probably going to shoot today. I'm not sure when, but I'll shoot it sometime. But I'll take a break, and I'll see, whatever. See you next week.